Hey, Browns fans, welcome into Training Camp Insider presented by Gregory Industries. Nathan Zegura and the Hoff, Joe Thomas, in the rain here a day after the Browns and the Panthers had their joint practice here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then the day before, obviously, the preseason opener tomorrow night. And Hoff, we got to watch it live. You were out there coaching the offensive line, coaching DeJuan Jones, and he had some nice reps where he was manhandling people, but now you've got to watch the tape. What did you take away from the Browns' performance in that joint practice?
The one thing that jumped off the tape was the physicality that the Browns had on both sides of the ball. Offensive line, they kicked booty. Defensive line, they did more than that because they upended the Carolina Panthers offensive line's booty. There was one play in practice where Alex Wright lined up in one-on-one pass rush, took the Panthers right guard, picked him up in the air, off of his feet, flipped him over, and he did a complete somersault on the ground as Alex went towards the quarterback for a sack. It really was a dominant physical effort in day one, and it was pretty clear that this has been a physical training camp for the Browns and that they have responded.
Yeah, we talked about it. This is the first training camp under Kevin Stefanski where we've had live tackling, and I got the sense from talking to a lot of players coming off the field that they felt more prepared for this joint practice than the Panthers maybe were prepared for the physicality that the Cleveland Browns brought. A lot of eyes on the quarterback situation as the Browns brought all 5 quarterbacks, in fact all 6 as Deshaun Watson made the trip as well. And in the 7-on-7 periods, it was Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel who got the majority of the reps, but when he got in the team period, neither participated. At that point, it was just Joe Flacco, Shedeur Sanders, and then Tyler Huntley, who was recently added. I thought Flacco had a great day. I thought Jerry Jeudy was sensational out there, had a one-handed catch on a deep dig, and he was really letting the Carolina Panthers know about the dominance that he was putting forth on the field.
That's one of the fun things about joint practice is you hear some chirping. There's some trash talking, and the Browns, they definitely got the better of the Carolina Panthers yesterday, and they let them know about it. And it was fun. You know, you go in these meetings after you have a practice like that, there's a jovial atmosphere because the coaches are highlighting all the great effort and all the great plays that you saw out there in that joint practice.
Yeah, and they did a lot of red zone work as well, and I thought Kenny Pickett looked very sharp in the red zone. Dylan Gabriel had some nice throws in the red zone 7-on-7 periods, and then Flacco really was kind of, I thought, at the top of his game. And 18-year veteran, he's kind of seen it all. And he just throws the ball so effortlessly, and that makes it certainly easy. And I thought even in the team periods, maybe running was tough. Now, this is a big defensive front there. Derek Brown wasn't out there, but they got some big guys out there. But in terms of pass pro, Hoff, your unit was elite. They gave the quarterbacks all the time they needed.
And that was part of the reason Joe Flacco was throwing dimes all over the field because he had a great pocket. When you have an older quarterback that's not quite as mobile, you want to give him that space, give him that pocket, and we've seen it before. If you give Joe Flacco a little bit of space and time, he can still throw the ball down the field with tremendous accuracy.
There's no doubt about it, and we certainly have seen that throughout this camp. And again, I want to point out Kenny Pickett, I thought, did a very good job. Dylan Gabriel, he will be out. Kenny Pickett will be out. Joe Flacco will be out for the preseason opener. So Shedeur Sanders will get the start. He's a guy that a lot of talent, obviously, very productive in college, has not gotten a ton of reps, but this is going to be his opportunity to say, this is who I am in the National Football League as a Cleveland Brown.
Right now, at this point in training camp, it's been Joe Flacco, the starter, and then it's been those 3 guys behind him sharing and splitting reps just about equally. This is the game for Shedeur, for him to be able to open some eyes and to build some trust with those receivers and earn him an opportunity to get an increase in reps as training camp moves on and maybe move up that depth chart to be that clear number 2 who's working with an opportunity to get some playing time at some point this season.
Yeah, that's why these preseason games are exciting, because coming out of it, as we go into that week in Philadelphia, that's where you're going to see perhaps some changes on the depth chart. And I think that really you're looking at Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco kind of in that neck-and-neck race as the veterans to start this season, given the difficulty of the schedule. Gabriel came in, and everybody said well ahead of Shedeur Sanders, and that's, in terms of his preparation, the guy had started more games in college football than anybody in the history of the game.
That helps.
He'd thrown more touchdowns than anybody in the history of college football, so he kind of had that experiential advantage, and so this will be a chance now for Shedeur in a game situation to say, no, I need more reps, I need more opportunities, and that certainly will be fun to see. On the defensive side of the ball, you mentioned the Browns' defensive front, they got after it. Now in the secondary, it's a different story because Denzel Ward was out there, but he did not have Greg Newsome, and we know that MJ Emerson, unfortunately, is out for the season. But you talked to Greg about the challenges for this secondary with the loss of MJ, who's going to step up, and we certainly know Greg Newsome, the former first-rounder, is poised for a big year. Joe talked to them earlier. Take a listen.
I'm here with Browns cornerback Greg Newsome talking about joint practices out here in Carolina. So earlier in training camp, we lost MJ Emerson, which is causing a little bit of a shuffle in the secondary. How have things been since MJ went down and you guys had to reshuffle a little bit in the secondary?
Yeah, it's been obviously hard. We got a lot of guys that weren't necessarily ready to play starter minutes right away, obviously with me, MJ, and Ward being the three. But we got a lot of young guys ready to step up, play some meaningful football, so we're super excited for them.
So your role specifically with MJ going down, how does that change?
Yeah, now, I mean, I'm primarily going to probably be on the outside, probably play some nickel depending on game time, game plan things. But, yeah, I'll get a chance to move back outside.
How do you like playing on the outside versus playing in the slot and the nickel?
Yeah, I mean, outside is just what I do. From rookie year on, that was the position that I came here to play. So I get another chance to play there full time, so I'm super excited.
Who on the secondary roster has done that job of stepping up and filling in for MJ and picking up that role as the nickel or as a slot?
Yeah, Cameron Mitchell, Miles Harden, they're both super young, super athletic, super great players. So we're super excited for those guys.
Against Carolina Panthers yesterday in the joint practice, your first opportunity to go out and compete against somebody that's not wearing a Cleveland Browns helmet. How'd that practice go for you guys?
I think we did a great job. We always talk about it. As long as we're playing violent, playing fast, and playing together, that's kind of where we measure ourselves. Everything else, scheme and things like that will take care of itself. So I think we did a good job.
So Myles Garrett signs a new contract this offseason to stick around. Yeah. Mason Graham, first-round pick, top 5 selection. How does that rush and that cover work together, and what have you seen from that defensive line that's going to help you guys in the secondary this year?
Yeah, it helps a lot. When you see no tight end in the core, we know the ball has to come out super quick. So I'm super excited this year. Obviously, Mason coming here, he's been doing a great job. We got Carson in the second level who's been doing an amazing job. So I think our rookies came here to play. They're ready to play and make an impact for us.
Carson Schlesinger, a great athlete, a guy who seems to be very heady. He's got a nose for the football. How has his addition to this defense helped everything, especially in the coverage game?
Yeah, he's super smart, super athletic. Like, he has that walk-on mentality. So, he goes hard all the time. So he really sets the pace for us out there, whether it's running to the ball, getting guys in the right position. He does a great job, and we're super excited to have him.
Hey, we're super excited to watch you guys on Friday night in the first preseason game against the Carolina Panthers. Get our first opportunity to watch some of those young guys out there. Greg Newsome, thanks for being with us today.
Of course, appreciate it.
All right. Good to hear from Greg Newsome. It's a big year for him. Last year, fifth year, right? On his last year, kind of into the contract with the Browns, chance to capitalize on opportunity that will be provided. He's going to get to play more outside as well as what we've seen him do in the past in the slot. So there's an opportunity for Greg Newsome. A couple of years ago, had a couple of picks. He had 14 passes defense to kind of recapture that form, make a lot of money for himself and his family, but also really help this defense become elite again as it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, and this is a defense that wants to play a lot of man coverage. They want to be in man coverage with a linebacker in that whole spot, just reading the quarterback's eyes, because they have such great pass rush.
Yep.
They want to be able to get home and allow those guys in man coverage to take some chances here and there and force some bad throws from the quarterback. So having Greg Newsome and Denzel Ward on the outside is going to be huge to be able to lock that down and allow that pass rush to get home.
That's it. It's the marriage of the rush and the coverage on the defensive side. It's the marriage of the run, the pass on the offensive side. But when you have all those things working together in harmony, it can be a beautiful thing. So the Browns preseason is going to kick off tomorrow night here in Charlotte. You'll be on the call on television along with the great Chris Rose. I'll be on radio with Andrew Siciliano and Gerard Cherry on the sideline. So we'll have you fully covered for this game. Hoff, I know a lot of it's about the quarterbacks. We know 3 of them aren't going to play. Of the original 4, only Shedeur Sanders will play in this game, but Kevin Stefanski saying the bulk of the starters probably won't play. They got work here, and they're going to get a lot of work, I think, next week in Philly in those joint practices. But this is an opportunity for so many guys to either say, look, I want to cement a role, for the young guys say, look, I'm ready to go against Cincinnati in the season opener. Preseason can be fun when you look through that lens because there are people fighting for their football lives and for a role on this football team.
Yeah, and all the eyes, I think, are going to be on Shedeur Sanders. And what he does, being the starter, he's going to get the bulk of the reps. We assume he'll be playing into the second half. And he's a guy that we always say he's a gamer, right? When you put the tape on and you're going against another team, what are those plays that you're making that just can't be coached? And so that's what we're going to be highlighting on watching from Shedeur Sanders.
I think the key for Shedeur Sanders is 2 things, right? First, it's the operation. Doing the things that you weren't asked to do in college. Calling plays in the huddle. Getting everybody lined up. Any pre-snap checks that need to be made. So getting into the right plays, getting into the right looks, and getting that execution down. And then once the ball snapped, just be decisive with that football. Let it rip. Go out there, have fun. Because he's incredibly accurate. And if he can get the ball out quickly, I think you have an opportunity for a lot of success.
Yeah, and he's going to want to try to build some trust with those pass catchers, right? That's such an important thing for a quarterback, especially a quarterback that doesn't have a rocket arm, that can wait till somebody gets open to throw it. He's got to anticipate, and he's got to have that trust, knowing that his guy's going to be at the spot he's throwing the football to, and there's no better way to do that against another team in a Friday night preseason opener in Carolina.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this. He's had a lot of chemistry so far with Gage Larvidan, Luke Floria with that second, third team, Deontay Johnson, the veteran, former Carolina Panther. I'm sure he wants to go out there and put some good things on tape as well. So it'll be fun to watch. Shedeur gets the start, but this is a Browns team that's got a lot of guys competing. That defensive end room that's so deep, the defensive tackle room that's so deep, they should be able to get after the Panthers, who their head coach Dave Canal said will play their starters. He's looking for 8 to 12 plays, 1 to 2 series. So when you want to make an impression, and you're a second string guy, maybe a third string guy, and you get reps against their starters, that's the time to do it.
And those starters are going to be selling out because they've only got 1 or 2 series, so they're going to give everything you got. And so you're going to get a great look at, hey, how does this guy compete and compare against a starting defense in the NFL or a starting offense in the NFL?
It's going to be fun to see. Again, preseason kicks off tomorrow night here in Charlotte against the Carolina Panthers. The Browns will then be off Saturday and Sunday before they return to practice on Monday. For the Hoff, I am Nathan Zegura saying thanks for watching Training Camp Insider presented by Gregory Industries.